Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Today, you can make your goals unfold, go get it. Today, you can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. Today, you can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Today, you can make your goals unfold, go get it. Today, you can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. Today, you can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Today, you can make your goals unfold, go get it. Today, you can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. Today, you can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Today, you can make your goals unfold, go get it. Today, you can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. Today, you can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Today, you can make your goals unfold, go get it. Today, you can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. Today, you can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Today, you can make your goals unfold, go get it. Today, you can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. Today, you can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Today, you can make your goals unfold, go get it. Today, you can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. Today, you can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Today, you can make your goals unfold, go get it. Today, you can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. Today, you can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit
your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals.
Welcome to Rand
Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit
your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could.
Just some announcements, of course. I hope that you have participated.
Live your best
There are
life
no
today
drills or anything
with
like
Rand
that.
Credit
We
Union.
will have a safety briefing after, but if you need to use the washrooms,
You can make your goals unfold, go get it.
sorry, gents are on the left, ladies are on the right, as we should be, because we're always right. You will also have some refreshments afterwards. And so we encourage you to stay, network, mix and mingle. You will also hear me reminding you of the handles and hashtags and things of that sort. If you choose to tweet or live stream or share any information from within the room, that's fine. Just tag us so we can see it too. And of course, I'll remind you of the handles of our panelists, so you will meet in a moment. Beyond that, please place your phones on silent for now or vibrate, because it will be heard and perhaps disrupt trains of thought. This goes for my panel as well. Please put your phones on vibrate or silent. And in terms of any other questions or any questions that you'd like to field to us, feel free to jot them down. We do have a designated Q&A segment so that you can field your questions to persons. If not, and you wanted to do that while we are mixing, that is also welcome, because our panel will not leave immediately after we are done. We will have a few moments for that. And now that I have your attention, please listen for the building's safety briefing. As I mentioned before, no drills are planned, but in the event of one, please listen up.
Welcome to Rand Credit Union. While you visit our premises, your comfort and safety are our priority. As such, please take a moment to pay attention to our safety briefing. No smoking or vaping are allowed on the premises. We're currently on the 4th floor. In the event of an emergency and it is deemed necessary to evacuate the building, the fire alarm will sound as an intermittently sounding horn, accompanied by flashing lights. Follow the instructions of security personnel or fire wardens, who can be identified by their green or orange safety vests. All occupants should proceed without delay to the nearest exit in a quick but organized fashion. There are 2 exits on each floor, one each at the rear of the building. Please look around for the one that is nearest to you. Use the stairs to descend. Do not use the elevator. Do not turn back or attempt to re-enter the floor or building in an attempt to retrieve any item. You are required to proceed with the group of evacuees directly to the muster point located at the Call Fire car park located on Abercrombie Street when requested by the safety personnel. Remain at the muster point until the head count has been taken. Do not return to the building until the all clear has been given by one of our security personnel. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your stay.
And let me also say to our virtual community that would have heard that safety briefing, you can apply it to your home. Find your exits, know where to muster, and all that good stuff. because this evening, this is a hybrid event that I take great pleasure in welcoming you back to. I say this because bigger pockets is a concept that Rand introduced to the world last year. If you aren't aware, apart from being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, hence the pink, both Nadia and I have the same thought, October is also Credit Union Month. And the beauty of a credit union is that it is of the people, for the people. So in part of their outreach, Rand initiated the concept, if you will, of creating bigger pockets through financial literacy. What that looked like the last time around was a panel of financial experts giving us insight into ways that we can make our money work better for us. We tackled things that may have been intimidating, from budgeting to financial planning and strategic planning as well, so that some of our panelists are welcomed back to continue to share their insight. But we also recognize that the world of work has changed, particularly in the realm of digital media, social media. So this afternoon, we are also joined by social media influencers. Now that term is a very overused term, buzzwords, if you will. So I'd like you to think of these panel members as persons who are self-employed, that have figured out how to monetize their talents and their gifts, and can show you how you can do it too. This afternoon is about coming away with information that you can use. So again, we encourage that you ask questions, so much so that we are using the Slido app so that you who are on Zoom will see it integrated into your applications. If you were to actually select applications, Slido comes up right there, so there's no codes to punch in. But for those of you who may be on Facebook or YouTube, we have the information and links on the social media pages for Rand Credit Union as well. And I will remind you of the code or the QR code that is on your screen right now that you can scan so that you can pose your questions to us virtually or digitally, while the persons who are in-house with us can do so in our Q&A segment and in our mixer that will happen at the end. Speaking of persons within the room, we acknowledge the presence of the President of the Board of Directors, Ms. Simone Pettledon-Huggins. Thank you very much for joining us. I understand that Director Sherwin-Williams is also here, so we thank you very much for your time. And to statutory committee members who are also present, thank you very much for joining us and lending your support. Now, to meet our panel. This evening, as I mentioned, it is a mix of persons, all of whom I'm familiar with. And while some of you may know my voice from urban radio or my face from morning show television, this afternoon I am your moderator, which means I'm going to try to get us out of here by 7. Let's see how that goes. My name is Ayinka Will, and to the left of me is somebody who is not at all related to me, but has the same last name. Leah Williams is one of our social media influencers, and while each influencer will tell you their story, one of my favorite things about Leah is that she figured out how to eat and get paid to do it.
A dream, honestly.
To contextualize Leah a little bit, she is probably one of the more traditional forms of social media influencing, where we have a personality on screen in front of us, delivering content, just to summarize. But Leah, in terms of your start and your general intervention into social media, was it a deliberate thing, or was it just, wait, now people send them money to eat food?
Definitely wasn't deliberate. It just kind of happened organically over time. I believe I started essentially during COVID. Peak COVID time, bored at home, nothing else to do, jumped on TikTok, started doing like skits and whatnot, and then I slowly but surely transitioned into food when I realized that that made me feel 100% authentically myself, and it was also well received by my audience. They also clearly loved it, because that my first foodie video actually gathered over 100,000 views, which was crazy to me at the time, and it felt so unreal because it was 100% authentically myself, and it was so well received, and that genuinely was such a great feeling to have in that moment, and it just grew into what it is. 4 years later, here I am, being a foodie.
Now, you're going to hear sentiments reiterated, I think, throughout the panel, where authenticity and just doing what you love became a money-making beautiful thing, if you will. So, for the most part, Leah, you do food reviews.
Yeah.
And so when we talk how many views and that sort of thing, that's currency. That's literally like a dollar value. You could almost convert to a dollar value with your views.
Something so, I guess.
Because based on your views,
yeah.
you get a charge, right?
Yeah.
I'm really oversimplifying it so that we can be as granular as possible.
Yeah.
To let it just be known and understood that this is very possible, very feasible, but sometimes lacking structure. So we're going to meet more of Leah in terms of the conversation all night long, but somebody that I really want to introduce to everyone is known as your virtual CFO. Now, I had to Google again to remember what a CFO is supposed to be, because when we talk about virtual and CFOs and all these abbreviations, things can get a little complex. But Andrea has a background in accounting, a certified accountant, and therefore the authority with money, basically, if you think of it. And it certainly was moving with the times when we saw the conversion into much of our work being digitized and the digital platforms being monetized. So that Andrea has the unique perspective of helping us how to structure our finances largely. But you could tell us better in your own words, Andrea. How would you describe what you do?
So definitely, what you use the right word, structure. What I like to promote is helping you to structure your finances so that it gives you wealth and so that it leads your business to success. Because at the end of the day, if you have a poor foundation in how you manage your finances, you will go nowhere. You could have the best product, but if you don't have a sound foundation in how you charge, in terms of your pricing, in terms of how you manage your costs, you will not make a healthy profit, and you will eventually run yourself into problems, and you will not be sustainable. So my primary goal as a CFO is to help small businesses, entrepreneurs understand that foundation level and that structure of their finances so that they make better decisions.
We are so happy to have you. And the lone gentleman who is on the panel, who might be able to echo the sentiments of Andrea's teachings in terms of having something that is sustainable, building your brand out to something other than what we see on the digital space, is Certified Samson. I don't know where you're certified, I don't know, but tonight we'll find. I just thought of it earlier this day. I was like, but how do we come to get Certified Samson? So if you were to describe who you are on the digital space, who is Certified Samson?
Somebody who likes to relay content in the form of relatability and in the form of growing up in a Caribbean household. I feel like we all have similarities with upbringings, not only in Trinidad, but I realized in different various islands that we all sort of experience the same things. I've been doing what I'm doing about 9 years now. So it is definitely something that I'm passionate about. Social media is something that gave me a lot of opportunities, and I'm happy to be in a position where I could, share some of that knowledge that I've received while doing this. But Certified Samson is an entity online that creates relatable, this is subjective to everybody, but relatable, funny skits.
Funny as hell, but I get you. I need a disclaimer.
Yeah, relatable, funny skits online, and absolutely love, and I'm very passionate about what I do.
One of the things that Certified Samson failed to mention is that he also has a business that came after the social media.
Yeah.
We will, of course, explore the journey towards that success, but it does place a unique position because you would have used the persona that you developed online to help build the foundation for that business, which we might say is strategic, which brings me to our next panel member, Dana Hayes, yes, I said Hayes, not Hayes. We had that conversation earlier. So Dana Hayes-Burke. Dana is one of the strategists and internationally renowned as you travel, speaking particularly on making sound strategy. But how would you describe what you do, Dana?
Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, I should say. What I do is that I help persons to take this idea that they've had, particularly around business, and I'm looking to solve the problem of the entrepreneur. You start a business with the idea that it's going to do something for you, but without clear strategy, without clear conceptualization of how to make that work, you end up with a hustle. So what I do is that I work with business owners, and I've done that working with them locally and across the region, to take their business from a hustle to finally now becoming a strategic business owner who understands how to refine your processes and then scale your processes. So I truly believe that we have to move from hustler to CEO, and the way to do that is by understanding the fundamentals of your business. So that's what I've been doing. That's been my goal. Because I truly believe in the power of small businesses to make big business bucks, but that could only be accomplished with clear strategy.
Amen. The gospel according to building and growing. When we talk about strategy and we talk about building or coming away from hustling to CEO, Renee comes to mind. Just because she sells ice cream, y'all. I just put it out there. She didn't bring any tonight. But it is one of, I think, our childhood dreams to own some of our favorite things. And you made that into a business beautifully. So Renee Andrews would have started when she was just 24 years old. And now we have Sorvetti, which gives us flavors like plantain and doubles. And it tastes way better than that might sound. Yes. Renee, tell me your story in a nutshell.
Evening, everyone. So my name is Renee Andrews, and I'm the proud owner of Sorvetti. I started this business, as Ayinka said, when I was 24. I came out of a very depressive state. I recently just got back from the States, and I was a bit lost in my life and my path that I wanted to do. I saw everybody doing everything they wanted to do, and I had no idea at that time specifically what I wanted to do. I'm a professionally trained chef, actually, and I still felt lost even though I had a career path. I reached ice cream. Ice cream was always the one thing that brought me joy. It brought me happiness and fulfillment. I thought, if you could do that for me, you could do that for everyone too. So I took the knowledge of being a professional chef along with making the ice cream, and this is where the unique flavors come to mind. So making a saffron ice cream or avocado ice cream, it's not something crazy to me because in the kitchen, we're custom creating, unique flavors. So it's really been a passion of mine because I'm obsessed with ice cream. And everyone is obsessed with ice cream as well. So Betty really came out of that dream of me trying to bring that happiness and that joy to others through the ice cream itself.
And in the case of creating that dream or moving that dream from dream to reality, one of the things that you were able to do was be able to create a sustainable business that has endured some time.
Yes.
And somebody that will speak about sustainability and truly getting at the core, if you will, when you culminate all of our conversations to getting bigger pockets will be our final panelist. Nadia was on the previous panel along with Andrea as well, so that you would be one of the persons who help us to get a foundation, yes, to strategize, but specifically with knowledge on wealth growth. So Nadia, how do you describe the money matters that you are dealing with?
Right. So I would say I do mostly personal finance, financial literacy, taking a very critical look at your finances and seeing what are the strategies to build wealth. Right? I think my academic and corporate experience is all steeped in investment, portfolio management. Right? And it was just to make that shift from managing big corporate portfolios to actually managing your own portfolio. As a small person, maybe just having a career, depending on your salary, or a small business owner, is about building out that portfolio of assets and you're kind of solidifying and cementing that generational wealth instead of just income coming in.
Mm-hmm. I know real bells went off on people's side, and then people said generational wealth is a conversation we need to have. And I think what Rand has successfully done is lay a foundation with the first conversation, which is available on YouTube, so that you can revisit the information that Andrea, Nadia, and others would have shared, and then builds on it, so that literally we are now building the strategies to grow our wealth in a non-traditional way. So the audience now has context for what everybody's bringing to the table, but we definitely want to get deeper than that because we also want to make sure that the younger generation is leading towards doing what we see successfully being done in our three influencers. Interestingly, it kind of gives us the standard in front of the camera delivering content, then using that to create the business, and then the business itself that expires or rather exists in the digital space. Right. So I want to get a little bit more insight because, I mean, we see the numbers, we hear the sponsorship, but it's not easy. Mm-hmm. We'll start with Leah just because it is your entire personality that you are sharing with us. And that authenticity is beautiful, but I'm sure you would have been knocked down a couple of times, particularly because you are a very unique individual. From Leah's voice to look to vibes. One of the first things, like, I think we talked on Twitter first.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, I remember she tweeted a video when you initially could have done videos, and everyone was just like, oh, her voice.
Yeah.
So, Leah, what was it like initially? Or perhaps maybe your first negative experience? Because I know that shapes you differently.
Yeah, for sure. Well, essentially, I think my main negative or my main challenges that I face as an influencer is definitely through either hate comments or essentially certain brands having their own opinions of me or like the interpretation I have that they have of me. Right. So essentially, through hate comments, sometimes I guess my way of dealing with that is that I've genuinely just kept being myself, because at the end of the day, I know myself and I know what I produce out there, and I love myself, and I know people who love me, and I love them back. So genuinely, it is like difficult for me to sit down and lose sleep over people who genuinely have so much to say but know nothing about me. So that's really my main challenge that I've learned to deal with time, develop that thick skin online. And also with regards to brands, like I mentioned, I am actually part of LGBTQ. So because of that, I have this notion sometimes that some brands may not want to work with me because of that. That's all good, that's all fair. And I also would not want to align myself with certain brands that might not want to align with me, with my values. So, and that's okay, that's fair game to everyone. So that's what I would say my most challenges are. And other than that, I actually do work a full-time, quote-unquote, regular job. I work 8 to 4.
This was something I discovered recently. And
Girl,
I was like, oh.
yeah, I be working my proper 8 to 4 from Monday to Friday, and I also tutor math as well. So those 3 main pillars are challenging, but it becomes easy because I'm sharing my passion online, and math is also my next passion, so that really does help me propel forward and just do the things.
Do the things, and you do a lot of things.
Yes, I eat all the things.
So in terms of getting a start, like you said, it was something that you are passionate about, but it wasn't that we always had the ring lights and the cameras.
Yeah.
So when you started off your initial social media presence, was it intentionally to be able to monetize or just to put
No, it definitely, I actually started off doing like skits and general trends online, and it was nothing about food. My first food video was actually me trying out different flavors of catch. And like I mentioned, that was like the first video, literally as I pressed post, I felt 100% like this was me. This is 100% organically me. And it's so crazy because the views, like I'm not trying to say that views is everything, but the views just really showed like, oh wow, I'm being myself out there, I'm being accepted by my audience. And this just became a thing with time, and someone actually reached out to me and was like, hey, would you like to promote this to me and this and that? And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that I can get money from this. I'm just like chilling, trying to enjoy and eat what I have to eat in front of my face. But you know, it is a blessing. It's truly an amazing honor to be able to consume and get paid for it. That is actually my dream. So yeah, that's essentially my vibe.
So tell me a little bit about how you structure things. In the case of Chinmegonians, you know you're gonna say you're vegan and again paid, so you're lying about what you're feeling. What is the distinction between your food reviews versus any other person who does the same thing?
I would say, well, I always tell my audience, I feel like I should not have to always explain myself to people, because there are always trolls online that will have their opinions no matter what. That's people, that's their nature, to always have their opinion and say what they want to say. So I will always be 100% honest with my reviews and with my videos always. So that always helps me just make sure that whatever I put out there is 100% accurate and right for the people them. So it's hard for me to compare to other foodie influencers or whatnot, because I know what I'm doing my thing, and everybody's doing their own strategy of how they post and when they post and whatnot. But I guess it's just really how I juggle what I do.
All the things
put
that
it out
you do.
there, yeah. To put it out there, yeah.
What is your strategy in terms of what is your timeline for when you post? So you post on a weekend only? Or
well, ideally, because of my week so busy, from Monday to Friday, I literally teach from Monday to Thursday and on Saturdays. I really and truly just film most of my content over the weekend. And like I film like 3 or 4 videos over the weekend, and I have that edited within the week to be posted. So ideally, I would like to post like at least 5 videos a week, maybe. That's a lot, because I have to physically eat 5 major things, you know. But I mean, it's not. Yeah, wait. No, I mean, I'm grateful. Like I said, I'm always grateful for sure, 100%. But you know, it's like damn, you know. So you like 5 back to back is like holy crap.
Right.
At the end of the day, fall asleep until the following weekend to eat again. You have to hibernate.
Why I asked though, because we also looking on might have a fantastic perspective as to how easy or difficult it is to actually create the content. So when you give me that reality of you do all of this on the weekend, you edit throughout the week, you have a schedule that you stick to, and you make it work, it gives somebody out there okay, I can do this too.
Yeah.
Now, I love that you underscore the fact that you do what you do as you. There is no need for comparison. But the reality is there are multiple players in the game.
Yeah,
there are
for
people
sure,
that
for
do
sure.
things similarly. So what do you think are some, if you were to think of like 3 best practices, if you will, for food reviews, 3 things that you are absolutely, 3 ingredients that you must have, see what I did there, in your videos?
So I definitely try to make my videos as unique as possible. I think also online, I myself am an avid TikTok watcher myself, so there are a lot of things online I see that are really unique that I myself want to try, and I'm like, okay, let me go try that. So I think that's what I guess I don't see much online, at least locally. I don't see people trying as, I don't want to say everybody's being unique. Of course, people are being unique. They're doing their thing. But there are definitely some weird food combinations like watermelon and mustard. I've tried that before, and I think it tastes good. A lot of people might have their own reservations about it, but I think it tastes pretty good. So I guess my willingness to try things that might get people vexed is my. It goes it. It goes it. But so I guess so just be unique. Yeah, try trends, and then whatever you even not just trends, but like things that I've like, oh my gosh, this looks delicious. This might be good together. I want to do like mukbangs or something like that, like eating a whole brownie from Papa John's with like a whole choc nut. that's a vibe to me. Yeah,
but
no pressure. But it's like,
again, I'm making sure that what we get from you is things that we could utilize. Because I like the fact that you're doing what you're doing in your own way. So share your formula, and you have a formula, Samson. So we get into your formula too, because apart from the personalities that you portray, the business transition was based on those personalities in some way, shape, or form. So walk me through a little bit how we went from all the miserable little boys that be into certified scoops. How did that happen?
So that started from wanting to do more, wanting to expand a lot more. I feel like personally, life is about growing. And if you don't want to grow,
you're not going to go.
You're not going to go. I like that. So watermelon and mustard. But I had to say that. But it stemmed from wanting to grow. And I have a very good manager. His name is Rajiv Singh. Very good friend as well, and now business partner. So we sat down and we was trying to figure out, okay, we have a brand. Who do we appeal to? And what kind of brands we could come up with to appeal to that demographic. So we sat down and I was like, cornflakes, boy. Because a lot of kids as well cheese. Cornflakes.
Okay.
That was not a good idea. So I was like, okay, no. Then I was like, okay, stationery. Can do stationery. A lot of kids just go to school. A lot of kids just look at it. But I was like, that could be difficult. Bags and pencil case and sharpener. It's like too many things at the same time.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, we started initially with lollies. That was the first part of the business. So Certified Scoop came along and we was like, we could create lollies. Lollies is something I think everybody enjoys. And we could start from small and continuously build. So we started Certified Scoop 2 years ago. And, boy, oh boy, business is not an easy task at all. It's not a skit, I can tell you that. Yeah, it's not a skit at all. So the fundamentals still stay the same, even though I may have had an advantage with marketing and being able to do marketing for the business. The fundamentals of a business still remains the same.
And cannot stop nodding.
No. Hiring employees, paperwork, customer service. It was just on and on and on. And being a business owner as well too. Sometimes you want a little rest. No rest. As they say, no rest at all. So phone constantly ringing. It taught me a lot in terms of solving problems. And then we expanded, and then we were at the situation where we could open an ice cream store, right? Love your ice cream, by the way. Yeah. So we opened an ice cream store 2.5 months ago, Certified Scoop, located at South Park Mall. Had to plug that in there. Anybody want to try it?
This is activated right now.
So we went into that. We wanted to bring it a lot closer to people, just in case. We wanted to create a cozy space. We wanted to create something where people can come in and get the product as well, other than
create
supermarkets.
content too.
Yes, and create content as well. So Certified Scoop was a decision to grow the brand of Certified Samson and continuously grow. We're having a lot of situations where we just want to keep going and creating opportunities from
But I'm sure
that.
that in terms of as simple as you've expressed it, it wasn't actually so. You talked about the challenges or how intimidating just business ownership could be and fundamentals. And I want Dana and Andrea to chime in here because fundamentals are your things. Primarily, what did you find to be your core, or almost like a formula, like I said, main ingredients that you held on to, rather?
Consistency and going into everything, operating it as what it is. So I didn't go into opening a business as, yeah, this could be a walk in the park, like making a skit. I went into it knowing that it's going to have challenges. Definitely opening a business, you need money. I can tell you that. So I had to be able to save. And some of those opportunities was from working with brands. And it's just putting myself in a position where using that money to funnel through making money online, making money from brands, and funnel it through my own passion and something that I like. So I would say I take it one step at a time. When the challenges come, we deal with it.
Right.
And we have a board where, okay, what's the most important challenges to deal with?
A whiteboard.
Yeah, whiteboard.
The whiteboard's coming
And we deal with that as it comes along.
Now, Andrea, in terms of giving us an idea of what perhaps one of the first things we should look at, having gotten over the marketing hurdle, just using Samsung's model, we know the brand, we trust it, we have an idea of what it could bring to the table, we associate it with fun and all those other good things that marketing can do. Where can we look to focus next?
Well, where you want to focus next is where do you see the business going, right? Because, and this is why Dana will probably speak to the strategy, but it has to come first. I can't, as a finance professional, in order for money to be set up right and for your finances to be set up right, we have to know where we go in. So one of the questions that I always ask people is when they start their business, what is the vision you have for it? Is this a side hustle? Is this to build generational wealth? Or is this a temporary situation? Is this just to get you over maybe a temporary financial situation?
Right.
All of those three things are all very valid options, right? I know some people who, they have their side hustle and they blatantly said, you know what, I don't have the bandwidth to make this my mainstay, but I do have the bandwidth fit to help me with 1 or 2 bills for the month.
Right.
So this is where I'm going to lay my hat and I'm going to do this. So the first question is, where do you see yourself taking the business? So if in listening to Certified, he had a vision of, I want to grow this brand. He wanted to move beyond the skits and really see this as something that he could make his livelihood from, as opposed to somebody else who might say, well, I don't really think I see a long-term future just yet. So I think the very first thing to ask yourself is this something that is going to build me my long-term financial situation, or am I just trying to get over a hurdle? And which is fine.
Yeah,
which is
things happen.
That is absolutely fine. I think that's a question that I see a lot of people skip over. And then they jump all in and they're not sure what to do next. Because you didn't answer that first question. Because if you had answered the first question of, you know what, I want to do this for the next 2 years because I have these 2-3 bills that need to get paid. I have this situation. I have a loan that needs to be paid.
This car
Let's just say I have a car loan that's to the next 7 years. This activity is going to see about that. That's a temporary situation.
Right.
But if you say, no, I want this to be my generational wealth, I want this to feed my family, that's a different scenario than the temporary. So I think the first,
channel how you actually use your resources, whatever.
And channel the decisions, because then your decisions now, if you go in the long-term route, your decisions will have a long-term impact versus just making a decision for temporary. So I think the very first thing is, where is this going? Is this now? Is this temporary? Or is this your generational wealth?
I want to jump across to Renee because one of the things she always talks about is her why. And I think that would kind of be along the same lines. You had a clear idea as to why you would do this. Even though it started to get you out of that depressive state,
Right.
you had a clear why. How did you come to that?
Before I start, I just want, I don't know which camera focuses on us right now. I just want you to see that the person who's watching this, don't let anybody lie to you. There's room for us all. Samson and I are in the same field, yet we both understand our vision, our own identity, and we're pushing through. So within the field, just like Leah we have multiple foodies in Trinidad and Tobago, right. She's still pushing through. So I just want you to see that it is still possible. It is very possible, right? Your why is so important, and I stress this a lot with everyone. The why was actually the reason why we're standing here today. When I started the business, 4 banks turned me down for my first loan to start the business. 4. The 5th was a credit union. They're really for the people. But it was because my why, I was able to sit down to that person and explain the why to him. And he sat and he went from and it opened my eyes to realize that your why is everything. And you're going to take it with you, and you have to run with that. Again, I'll let you know, coming out of that depressive state, I really just wanted to be happy in life. And I was just trying to hold on to anything that brought me that happiness. Then I realized that the ice cream wasn't just a physical thing, but it was a measure of changing lives, because you have it when you're sad, you have it when you're happy, but everyone goes through their rough times, their happy times, and it really is that one factor that you could, have comfort in.
Right.
And my why was helping your why, And then I said, Renee, you're onto something here, and it's much bigger than me. It was much just bigger than me, and creating my own, comfort space was for everybody else. So I would always stick to my why, and I encourage anyone else, always go back to your why. That why will always be the structure, that sound structure, that will help you through the rough time, because as Samson said, business is not easy. So if you're a business owner, stick to your why. There was a reason why you gave up that job to start and do what you're doing. I met someone in the audience, Giselle, and she's telling me her why. And it's so important. Don't ever look down on it and say, well, I'm doing this because, and even you're saying that it's temporary, it's okay to have a temporary why, because you're living in that said moment. And I think it's important, everybody looking on the glamorous side of life, and it's okay that you just want to be happy in life. You just really genuinely want to. That's what I try to let the viewers know all the time. So,
everybody's going to identify with that, because right now we are all searching for that way to be happy. You found it, and you found a way to make it work for you. So, Dana, in terms of one of the things that I think you nodded most on was when Samson talked about using capital from the initial influencing stage of things to be able to build the business. And that's something that I think a lot of us don't always think of, or may not have to fall back on. So I'm kind of asking for a formula still in terms of what might be the first place to start. We starting with the why. We need to know why, we need to know whether it's long term, we need to know whether it's short term. But I feel like that saving to create the capital struck a chord with you. Why is that?
Well, a few things struck many chords. Lots of chords.
It's gonna happen all
It was an entire song being played. But I want to just pull from the story that Samson shared, as well as the story that Renee shared. The first thing, if you're looking for a formula, is vision. There's a statement that I say all of the time: see your vision, believe the vision, build the vision. So you have to see it, one. And then because that's going to be the impetus for starting anything. Right. Whether the vision is to just have fun online initially, if the vision is to come out of a depressive state to share joy, your vision is to share messages and to really bring our Caribbean stories to the forefront. So you need to have a vision, and then you need to know where you want to go with that, right? And so I'm saying that because business is hard. And so the thing that helps you to navigate through the difficulties is having a reason, a vision, a passion to build something that fuels you. Right. Now, it fueling you is not going to negate the work. The work still exists. But when you get to the boring things, when you get to having to pay your taxes, pay your rent, pay your staff.
Who's his eye? Don't open your eye.
Yeah, no, I have to say it like that because you see in his story, he scaled from something that was primarily moving mobile to something that's now stationary. And so with that comes certain commitments, right? We love the brick and mortar, but brick and mortar comes with things. And so it looks nice on the outside, but on the inside, there are mechanisms that need to be put in place for that. So that's why I believe you need to have a vision, and you won't experience all of it right away when you start. However, that is what's going to keep you moving forward. Once you're clear on that, it helps you now to allocate funds towards that vision. So for me, for instance, I started my first business while I was still employed as well, right? But the vision kept me allocating not only the resource of money, but the resource of time, which we don't talk about. And I don't know about everybody else, but I truly feel like time is not on my side. Because somehow I'm in October. And I just celebrated Christmas, and Christmas is coming again. Are we having a misunderstanding with the 25?
My birthday is 21st. I like October. Wow.
Yeah, but I have nothing against October. But I'm just saying, time is going. So now
September had something good going.
You're allocating money, you're allocating time towards this thing. So if you have limited money and you have limited time, then you have to figure out how. So if I were to use your story, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. Yeah.
He found a formula, right? Which was you utilize your skits and then you sat with your business partner and thought, hey, what can we do next? And you found your lollies, which I find it's a great idea. Cornflakes, bro. But if we were to pull it through, pull the lesson out of it, there was an analysis of options. Cornflakes. I ain't too sure how we're going to do that. Book bags, we only buy that once a year. So there's no sustainability. Lollies, Trinidad always hot.
Yes, for real.
So we have a model. We have something that is replicatable. And because he found that, then he was able to scale that. So we sell more and more lollies. I don't know where he was finding the time. His whole house probably looked like a lolly factory. I don't know your business, but I just saying, because scaling now requires more time, more resources, more everything else. But it's possible. How is that possible for anybody in business? Winning formula. What do people want, and how can I consistently deliver that?
There you go.
Winning formula.
What
people so vision, then what do people want? How can I consistently deliver it? And what's the next level of that? And with the next level of that, I have to figure out how to do that again.
I like it. So we're getting things that we could use, and we're getting things that will allow us to go into the next phase, which, as I will continuously say, is the actuality of deepening those pockets. We oftentimes think about saving and investment as last. We definitely will spend all the money, pay all the bills. I know I do that. And then say, oh, whatever's left, I'll put it into savings. So investment is even further away from me. But Nadia, I know that is your area of specialty. And granted that we have almost a formula, an exact how-to, how do we approach that mentality to, as Dana was saying, to scale up, to do the next thing, to replicate and grow?
Right. So there's a kind of shift that we had to make, right, in our thinking. So all the time now, we're talking about getting into business, leveraging social media, upping your marketing game, scaling the business. And we didn't like zoom out and think, okay, how can I diversify these income streams? How can I put things in place so I don't have to earn income anymore? So I am not needed to do all the things that we know business owners do. Right? By virtue of the thing just existing, is creating a cash flow for us. And that's like a level up in your thinking. And it's hard to get there when you're in the mud. Because when you need to take your things, you have decisions to make and things, challenges and hurdles, and you're kind of working in the business, and you're not working on your strategy, your personal financial strategy. And that's really important because it's something that we were never taught, and it's part of financial literacy that everybody's kind of look over. So it's like you have probably a good thing going on. You have income coming in, cash flows looking nice. But if you make $1 million and you spend $1 million, then you have a big fat nothing.
No dollar.
That is matter.
Yeah, and you have built nothing to generate cash flows into the future. So it's important to think about, while you're in business, to think about still investing, and it's actually not at the end of the road. So that's a little misleading to think, okay, I'm waiting to make this set of money to accumulate this mountain to then say, all right, I could invest now. It's actually not like that. It's actually when you get into business, as soon as you start making cash flows, you got to be strategic enough to say, you know what? 10% of every income, or 20% of each time I get money in my hand, 20% of that, sinking it down in an investment.
Let me ask more panelists, how many of you have actually been able to do that? Has that actually been a thought or something that we started to do? I mean, be honest.
Before we started, I was telling Nadia, girl, I had a plan. I had a budgeting plan. So I was actually putting that 10%. And then a month would pass, I forget about it because I was so focused, just what she said. I was in the mud. I was focused on Sovete, everything. Everybody knows me, just Sovete. And I don't even see about my personal self. So that budget is out the window, somewhere in my laptop, somewhere filed. That is not being taken care of. So I would admit, I told her before that I'm now trying to get back into it because it is important. At the end of the day, you know, things will come, things will go, but you have to know what remains for you at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah, I know you're going to tell us about saving towards things like pension and structure to it. I know, I see it in the corner.
So this is the pitfalls of entrepreneurship, right? You get in it, and just what she says there, you do the cash flow to open the bank account, and then you don't look at it again.
Yeah.
Facts, right? You do it, you get the bank account open, or you do it and you get the loan and you start, and you're in the business, and then you stop looking at it. The cash flow is a living and breathing thing. It's very fluid. Literally, it's called cash flow. Money flows. And you have to be able to look at your cash flow very frequently to be able to see where the money is going, where is it coming from, what are the decisions that I need to make so that I could maintain my commitment to my investment portfolio so that I don't fall off, right? But like I said, it's one of the pitfalls. We just get so, Nadia used the word right, you know, we're in the mud and we're just there and we're stuck, right? Now we're not drowning, you know, we're just about here.
Treading water.
We're just about here and we're head above water and we think that we're doing fine because we're not under the water. But you could only do that for so long. What happens when you tread water for long? Your arms get tired. You get tired. So this is where people like Nadia would come in, because while we're doing this, if some of that action could have gone towards a long-term asset, then a time will come where you could breathe and you could rest and you could float for a while, right? And
Think about John who just swam between Trinidad and Tobago. He was floating. No, I'm so serious. And it was because he planned. We literally had the conversation this morning, and it is a part of the conversation, as you rightly say, that we missed, especially because we're working to make the money to survive, to navigate. So I'm really, really making sure that we connect the dots for not just the persons who are in the room, but those online. And I will remind everyone as well that you can continue to give us your contributions. You can add your questions or ask your questions, some of which we already have, so I'm going to check in with them in a little bit. Because why we have the influencers is, yes, to share their stories, give us the formula, if you will, but we're having a transparent conversation. So we're talking about the reality of these alternative cash flows and these alternative jobs, so that people don't shy away from it or go towards it because it seems fantastic, but they understand the realities and how possible it is to grow your money through it. So checking in with some of the questions, and I will direct these more to our social media influencers. One question came in from Christine Lucas, who, mind you, sent her question very early, so I love that she sent this yesterday. What is the challenge in turning our social media presence into a profitable business? We started from the point of the success, but I'm sure it initially didn't kick off right away. So what would you say, Leah, would have been maybe a pivotal moment and realize it makes sense? What changed, or what helped you to define that, okay, the food reviews more than the skits? What worked for you?
Well, essentially, with my food reviews, doing that style of video content, I think people reached out to me more for that, because I think I'm not a big actor, honestly. I'm not a big actor. I gotta be actor. I don't know how you be doing that, bro. I'm not big. I can't even act as myself. Yeah, right. I can't even act as myself, bro. So honestly, that was, like I've been saying, that's the most authentic thing that became like organic for me. And I guess because my audience see that, or brands even see that, a lot of them when they message me, they're like, oh, I love your content. I love how you react to food, and that's genuinely me. So it's something that I generally don't get paid for every single video I produce, but I produce consistently because I know to keep my presence on social media, I have to be consistent. That's definitely something every time I would do my research about like how do I become viral. I mean, the goal, honestly, like I mentioned, I work a proper 8 to 4, Monday to Friday. I don't want to be doing that forever. Right. It's definitely not my end goal, 100%. And I'm grateful right now that it has like a pension thing being organized for me subconsciously in the background. I don't have to think about that, thankfully. But this in my mind is very temporary. So my content creation as well as my math tutoring is really what I want to focus on and keep growing as time progresses. And it's just so, I am honestly so mind blown still that people actually giving me money to eat their food. So like that still blows my mind honestly to this day. Like that's crazy work. But it's like, but I mean, there's so much food places out there. People love food. Food is my love language, I always say. So it's like the best way to connect with people generally. And everybody loves food, man. How to not love food? So the business is one that. I do, I promise. Well, you can't relate at all. Can't relate, bro.
If I could just interject, as she said something there, you know, I want people to remember the thing about social media and these influencers doing their videos. The money does not come right away.
People be fighting you down and things.
People, when I say in terms of you are posting your videos to build yourself so that people hire you.
Yeah, 100%.
When you post a video, there's no money hitting your bank account. And I just want to make sure that
not
yet.
Well, in Trinidad, and it's not in Caribbean.
Exactly. In our territory, it's not really. It's not really prevalent. So you need to be mindful that when you get into this social media game, that you probably need to have a comfortable 6 months sitting down while you build yourself. There's no cash coming in immediately. So don't feel that when you post that first video and you go viral, or I shouldn't say the first video, when you go viral, that it translates immediately into money in the bank. And I just want to make sure people understand that.
Like, I could add to that as well and definitely say that's correct. Because nothing was than living in a Caribbean mom house and not paying no bills. And what I started doing was I was working at Shagona's health facility, but I wanted to take social media to a more full-time job. And to do that, what she just said there, make sure you have money in the bank before you make a decision, which I did. And I prepared myself for it was 4 months, which I thought was enough. It wasn't. I can tell you that. It wasn't. It took about 3 years. It's like 4 months or 3 years.
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
You saw maths teacher, you don't know maths
I was about to say one time,
you had enough income to cover you for the 4 months. You had that plan.
Yeah.
What happened on the 5th month?
The 5th month, I scratched my head. I was like, oh, God. I was like, okay, it will happen on the 5th month. Then the 6th month reached, the 7th month reached. And then I had to make a decision to, all right, do I love this to the extent where I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep trying, I'm going to figure out ways to, how could I get out of the spot a little bit faster? And I'm doing content 9 years now. And it's on the 7th year, things started to make sense. So when I talk to people who do content, I always tell them, first you have to have the passion for it, because it's not easy. And the same thing as a business. Sometimes you go into business and the cash flow happens, but you won't see the profit yet because you had to constantly reinvest. So you have to know the pace to go.
Right.
And they also have to have the passion for it, because if you didn't have the passion for it, of course, you know.
It becomes a job.
Exactly.
We talk about that a lot generally in terms of any sort of entrepreneurial endeavor. That passion is definitely going to drive you, but it can burn out. You are a human being, and you also have to be very realistic to the fact that you're going to get tired. You're going to lose inspiration. 100%. And so discipline. I learned this from so many influencers and I'm talking about national influencers, social media influencers, persons who understand really influencers about making impact. You have to have the discipline to keep going when you really don't necessarily want to. So that is another question that we have in terms of the online questions, which I encourage you guys to continue to post. But for now, I do want to go into pricing a little bit, because that was another question. How do you assess the value of the industry and how you determine the pricing of your service as a self-employed professional? This one comes from Jean-Pierre Campbell. And Rennie and I had a conversation quite recently about pricing for things, where I discovered so many self-employed persons, because as a presence on media, whether it be to do voice work, television hosting, event hosting, one of the things people love to say which irks me too from a last minute. It's just 30 minutes. What is your price for that? And I always have to underscore, I see some people in the crowd because they know the struggle. You always want to reiterate that everybody on this panel and any panel of entrepreneurs will tell you, you are not paying for the 30 minutes that I'm going to be speaking. You are paying for the 2 hours it might take me to get to that destination, for the
There's the
entire,
before,
all
there's
the
the after.
overheads and all the incidentals, for the entire hour in advance that I need to be at the event in terms of incidentals and professionalism, for the hour after, because it will run late, and more than anything, for the last 10 years of education that I have paid for to learn and be certified in my expertise. Please, I beg, stop saying to people, and not just entrepreneurs, but subject matter experts, is just 2 minutes. My 2 minutes, if we were to break it down as Rennie and I did, could have been 2 minutes I spent in the kitchen creating a new recipe that could have bring me in $800. So that 2 minutes, and I mean, she's just doing it real fast, but that 2 minutes could actually have a dollar value when you have a tangible project like that. So while we persons who do not have a tangible project have to rely heavily on the reputation, the brand that we've built, I know there is an actual formula towards that end. And anybody who wants to interject to give us some basics, do you know? Is there an actual formula where we should be looking at perhaps overheads, expenditure, and then profit? How do we work it out?
So most pricing is the mistake that most business owners make. And so there are some things that I just want to say straight up. You are not a mega retailer, so you can't try to come in with this cost leadership thing. So we used to think that if I'm the cheapest, they will come. They will not.
No, they will not.
I just no. We need to stop. It's some of the conversations that we have in our minds, right?
We are told.
We are told, like, eat little and do not live right now in the year of the Lord 2020.
I think it's eat little. I think it's eat little and stay hungry.
We would not be like Leah. We would not be happy on a weekend. I really just want to say, when it comes to pricing, the formulation is this: understand your operational costs, be very clear on that, and pay attention to those hidden costs, because it's not just the money you pay to buy the item. There are other expenditures that you experience. There's the electrical, the intangibles, there's the time, human resources. The only way you can start a business that you can pay yourself right away is by understanding that you are your own human resource, and therefore you have an hourly rate. And as an employee of your own business, at least pay yourself minimum wage.
Which just raised the other day if you didn't read about it.
Right? So you have to understand those costs. Once you gather your costs, then you can spread it along the whatever products you have. Some of you only have one product. Some of you all have more than one product. So you divide it across that. I believe, and this is my formulation, price for your minimum. And what that means is you divide the cost across the minimum you expect to reasonably sell on a monthly basis. So we start off with all this ambition. We're going to sell 1,000 units. You're not going to do that when you now start off. You're not. And if you do, you probably won't consistently do that.
Right.
So set a reasonable target for what you're going to meet on a monthly basis. And then once you understand that, you can add your markup to that. And so then you find your profitable pricing strategy. In there, you have your operational costs, your human resource costs, and your markup. And you've separated that cost across your minimum or your average expectation of what you will sell monthly.
Right.
This is when you're now starting off. So that means every month, if you hit that target, you will pay yourself, you will pay your bills, and you will have something for your business left over, which is your profits.
How much of this you guys are saying, where didn't I hear this before? Anybody?
Yeah, I've heard about it before, but eat little and don't live at all, I like that. But sometimes I take it
You're using these lines.
But also one thing with pricing is you know, it is a back and forth. Hey, why this so expensive? Hey, why this?
Yeah, boy.
You know, but I feel like when you come up with a business and you look at the expenses, you look at the overheads, you look at all the things you have to pay, and then you come up with your price, and you also have to take into consideration you're building an experience, depending on what the business is, you're building an experience. And these are individuals that coming into the establishment, the experience, a quality level of business. So if your price is a little high up, is a reason for that.
Deliver.
So we need to deliver on equality.
Ensure that it deliver.
So
I just want to jump in on that point, right? Again, because we try this cost leadership thing, we're not understanding there is space for everybody. And in any range, in any particular sector, there are lower end, there's mid-range, and there's high end. And so as a business owner, you have to think about your positioning. Because when you put out that positioning, you come with an expectation that I'm going to pay Ayanka a certain amount of money. Because she's delivering at this level, because you have built something around you that tells somebody in their mind, hey, this is what you're going to pay for. And to just draw an example on it, if you look at any premium brand like Louis Vuitton, do you see them running sales? Even in times of recession, their price remains the same because nobody is going in there expecting you're getting a $5 bag. If you get a $5 bag there, you're like, that's fake. So in the same way, when you are building your own business, you're not going to get to your pinnacle right away. But you have to have in your mind that even if my pricing, I'm just pricing for profit first, not yet for value, that I still position myself in the place of the value. So that when I change my pricing upwards, we cool.
Customers can move with it and they understand that. I want Nadia to also chime in on that, because when we talk about things like value and, again, growing that portfolio, we also want to be realistic in our ambitions therein. So I know you would both contribute to the conversation because Renee, you definitely would have had to do that strategic planning, and you could speak to it. So go right ahead.
Yes, I was just going to say, speaking from experience, when I first started the business, everybody's like, why are you the same price as Agnes? And it went from that to now, how many can I get now? Can I buy 5? So this is where social media really came into play. I started posting daily lives. When people see the amount of effort, the amount of work, the quality that went into the brand, they stopped questioning the price and started to buy it. So that's why Samson, and both of you all said it correct, is that the quality will always outweigh everyone's else psychological thinking of the price.
And as the old people say, it's good from the cheap. It's either you can afford me and you can't afford me as well. And I wanted to say that just because we also had the question of how to transcend easily into what or the jobs that are trending today was one of the questions. It came from Sharon Jack. And while I hear what you're saying, Sharon, in terms of finding a field that will probably give you the fastest earning or so, it really comes down to the quality and the distinction of what you bring to the game. As Renee said, there is room for all of us. Dina would have highlighted the fact that somebody has to be at the highest of the range, somebody in the mid, and somebody not so much. But at the end of the day, finding your niche is really important. And I know that Nadia is a niche girl that can speak to that for sure.
For me, some of the traditional price and stuff theories really is irrelevant in this new digital era where we have social media and building a personal brand.
Thank you.
So when you have a brand deal or you get a job to do something, you are showing up with your personal brand that you have built. And there's a value that you have to place on that intangible thing that you have been growing. When you come and you are present, you bring something. You give them access to your community and your market. So there's an intangible layer to that price that you have to kind of input there. And you value your own self.
I agree 100% because I actually, just to chime in there real quick, I don't have like a physical product that I sell. I always say that I am essentially, myself as a human being is my own business. I am the product. I am the editor. I am the filmer, everything on my own. So my cost is curated to suit that because I do everything on my own, and it's like I also work my full-time job and have my tutoring and all that. So it's my time and my effort to come and do these things. So it does hurt sometimes when brands are like, oh, because I've definitely brands in the past have been like, oh, how can we charge them so much for this? I'm like, well, hard luck's for you then. You know what I mean? Like, just don't even bother with me. Why even beating up? You know what I mean? Like, don't even, hard luck's for you. Why are you even trying to fight me down? You know what I mean? But
you
I
understand your
for sure. And but at the same time, of course, I pride myself in ensuring that my relationships with anyone is always as mutually beneficial as possible. If it's a very small business now starting up, there's a lot of times I've done videos for people for free, 100%, by them just giving me product. And I'm willing to market them in that regard because I think that I get my own subconscious blessing as well from that because you know what I mean? Because if they can't afford it, I get that. That's 100% fine. And I am always 100% open to negotiating my costs always. But if it's like a huge $1 billion company that's reaching out to me, oh God, why are you fighting now? Don't fight me. You know, that's why I'm just being honest. Like,
Don't fight.
we're not with you. Take your
It's
time.
a very real sense of understanding your value. And
Yeah,
I think
for sure. You have to know your
even
worth
being
as a
open to
person.
the negotiation part of things. When you, as Nadia would have said, set that standard, set the bar at this is my price, this is what I bring to the table. People who recognize that will pay you.
Yes.
You have voluntarily offered to do things pro bono. I have made those offers within this week, and the person literally said to me, listen, I don't want you to come here for free. I will give you a value.
And that happened.
And I
That's amazing.
truly appreciate
Yeah,
that.
me too.
When you have
That's
that
really
reputation, you've built the product, you have the standards, you understand the expenditure that or rather the value that you've created.
Yeah.
It will come back to you once you put this out
Yeah,
there.
and that's the minimum level of respect I would expect.
I
Anyway,
I
doing it.
I start replying to emails, hard luck's there.
yeah, we're hard luck. Hard luck's there, boss.
I'm not going to say, I wanted to make sure that
But just to solidify what we're all saying, from an accountant perspective, this is actually a number in the books. It's an accounting term, and I'm not going to get technical, but there's an accounting term called goodwill. It's an intangible asset. And goodwill is just what we've just discussed. The value of the brand that you cannot, it's not on a receipt anywhere. So Louis Vuitton, there's goodwill in there. That's been built up over years. So all the big premium brands that we know, if you look on their financial statements, I can guarantee you there's something in there called goodwill. And it usually comes up when like one company is buying another and they ask you to value the company. The amount that is over the stated monetary assets, so the value over the cash and whatever, there's this premium that they say, well, it's a good brand. So just to solidify, if you all were thinking, well, what we're talking about not making sense.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
It's not arrogant.
No, it's not.
For real.
It could actually be quantified in your business, and it's a number that can exist in your books.
No, we will get to the books.
I just want to say one thing.
We will
Just
get to the books,
because
sure.
it's easy for us to say this, but I do know that if you're now starting up a business, the reality is you can't say hard luck right through. Right?
This came up.
Yeah, just
Paraphrase. I paraphrase my hard luck.
pay.
In essence, I say hard luck. So I
You know?
paraphrase that.
But you know, it's nice to say we do understand though that when you're starting up, you may not be able to have, you may not have that leverage, or you may not feel you have that leverage, or the reality is you have bills to pay, you have to eat.
For sure.
Right.
So my encouragement to you is this. Aspire to get to the place where you can do that, but also put a limitation to how much you will compromise.
Correct.
Because if you don't put boundaries around that, if it's not a hard stop, like I will do this month only, but I'm not going to be doing this consistently, you will position yourself as a discount brand, and you don't want to do that because it's going to be very hard to come up with.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to add with that, which is something I experienced, which is you give somebody a price, it's like nah. So then, while doing what I do and getting a little bit more experience, I start asking the question, okay, so what's your budget?
Right.
So maybe I have something that the business could offer you for that price, so we could still work together. Maybe not what you're looking for, but I could give you alternatives.
Mutual.
Start somewhere,
Right.
and then you gradually build, and then
Absolutely.
For sure. So that we gain some key learnings and some things that people can utilize. I've checked in with the persons online in terms of some of their questions. And don't worry, in-house guests will be able to field your questions as well. I'm trying to make sure we reach that 6:50 time to give you that Q&A option. But I also want to remind everybody who's connected online that we are on YouTube and Facebook. And of course, you can send those questions to us. But we will also post this for this experience, this exchange, this wealth of knowledge on the Rand Credit Union's YouTube page as well, so that you can revisit it and you can check our previous conversations in the event that some of the terms that we are using, especially in terms of the financial experts themselves, are a little bit ambiguous, or any other questions that you may want to field to us. I do have a question that is very specific to Nadia, because somebody wanted to know good investment options that can be used for business owners to see the cash flow required to remain out of the mud. I love that all you're paying attention and using it. But I do know immediately that might be a more specific conversation. So if we were to think more along the lines of less intimidating figures, values, or sizes, when we talk investment, pension plans and those sort of things are things that everybody could understand. What advice do we have in that way so that maybe, and that's Roxanne, I think it is, asking that question, could probably directly message you for more specific.
Right. So there's a big misconception that we need to clear up one time, and that's that you need a lot of money to invest. Or somehow you have it in your mind that you're going to dump this money to invest it, when really and truly that's not it. What you want to do, the goal is to be consistently investing, like little cash flows to a certain investment and build it out, right? And you have 3 main ways to invest. 1 is the stock market. That happens to be my favorite, right? 2, you could open up a business. And 3, there's real estate. And some of us might not have the cash flow needed for real estate. So most people would venture to the stock market. And you can build long-term, diversified investment stock portfolios. It's not complicated, I promise. And it is accessible to everybody. It's just that because we don't have the knowledge, we don't know it is accessible, then we don't use it. But the stock market is a tool that you can use to build an investment that will generate your cash flows way into the future.
Now, as influencers, tell me how you feel about that. Because, like Nadia is saying, it can be intimidating. I know people who have solid jobs for decades and still not invested. So is that something you feel like you could gravitate towards, Leah?
Yeah, I think that's possible. I feel as I'm not very financially literate, not gonna lie. So hearing this is actually awesome for me. It's definitely something I've been like trying to figure out on my own, but it's so difficult, I feel like, to just find information online. It's not very specific to me. Like I'm not saying like, okay, my life, my finances, how much should I invest exactly? Because I'm very logical thinking, because my degrees in math and stuff, and I still don't know what percentage of what do I use exactly. Again, I just don't know exactly. When it comes to savings, I'm like, damn, like what exactly do I do here? Because I like to enjoy myself, you know. So, but I need to like.
I'm just gonna say, I know my audience is chiming in here. How many of us like to enjoy ourselves?
I know. My girlfriend's right there. I know she loves to enjoy herself.
With money.
She loved to enjoy herself.
Like that's why we have to start to change the conversation. So I am also going to go into a couple more questions here very quickly, because we've pretty much covered in a very organic way many of the talking points. I do want final thoughts from all of you. But before we do that, the specifics to the influencers. This one has clearly been online. Oh wait, where did it go? There's a looming threat that TikTok may be banning up to 350 million persons in the market, the US market predominantly. And how this can impact influencers on the panel is the question. What are some of the steps you can take to mitigate it? Are you all even aware or concerned with that at all?
I am definitely aware. Concerned, I would say no, because I feel like we're in a generation that a lot of people are on their phones. Many different apps, many different platforms that we could go on. If you're not on it, start doing that one time.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, and as Renee said,
that has been going on.
Like social media marketing is a very important thing, and you know, if you have a brand and you also have a business and you use social media, it is absolutely important for you to be present there. So if you see in a direction going where an app may be cancelled, make sure and get different platforms, different outlets. It's a business 100%. At the end of the day. So.
But something that we were talking about, I think yesterday, was that I really don't want to see certain types of institutions doing a TikTok challenge dance. That has nothing to do with the service you provide, and I know I'm not the only person. So that I think aligning yourself with particular platforms might be an asset as well. Maybe, Renee, how did you decide on what works best for you?
Well, it was actually one of my friends, she told me to download TikTok, and I said, no, don't download it. That silly app is for dancing and making fun, you know. I downloaded it, and I started to gain traction there, because I would post on Instagram. Instagram was, I guess, a millennial thing.
Right.
But TikTok came about, and once I started to post and got traction, the difference that it made for me is when I saw that views turned into sales. And once I saw that, I ran with that, because at the end of the day, we have bills to pay, I have a staff to pay. So when I see it transition into the actual sales figures, I ran and stuck with TikTok. I tried it on Instagram, and I saw, okay, we're getting a good bit of clientele from that. But 40% of our direct sales come from TikTok directly. I post a video, and she touched on this, not because I post now and we get sales instant.
Right.
It grew. It took a while. I think I've been doing TikTok 2 years now, and this year is when we saw the most growth, where I post a video now, and I'm very strategic in a post where, okay, ice cream cakes not doing too good this week, we post about ice cream cakes, and then immediately we'll see a shift in ice cream cake sales skyrocket. So it's more of a really knowing what platform really works for you, but it's a trial and error thing.
For sure.
A TikTok may not be here, but another app will form. Just like how Instagram was the thing, Twitter was the thing back then,
Yeah, Twitter's not even a
Facebook
thing
was
anymore.
the thing.
Crazy.
I'm sorry, everybody on Facebook.
Well, it still is this thing, but it's a generational
Yeah, I think it's a generation.
We respect Facebook. The views expressed by the millennials are the
Just like in terms of our in-house,
Fred.
how many of you all are, what is your preferred
platform?
So let's go Instagram. How many of you all are Instagram? 24/7? Well, you know.
I feel like it's
How
around
many
two.
of us are Facebook people? You
You're
can
right,
put me
pressure,
on one,
pressure.
it's fine. How many of us are Twitter gang?
Twitter.
Not
Yeah.
much.
No, not in the Caribbean.
Right in the Caribbean.
Yeah, Twitter's
Yeah, it's still growing.
How
It's
many of us
not-
on TikTok doing the dances?
Not the dances, but
but
I like
you
it.
can meet. We're not doing the dances. Okay?
Yeah,
So
I
like
think
that question you did there, just it made me.
It's a good survey.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good service because it
Yeah.
shows me which app
Yeah, it
has a
reaches the
particular
ball, yeah.
demographic.
Yeah.
And so
So
data.
I like the
data is
Facebook
key.
hands. I
You
like
like
okay.
Facebook hands?
Yeah, she's all-
Those are the older folks.
But
So
yes,
how could I? Okay.
This is the thing about social media. Data is king.
data.
It is.
Yeah.
This, or
For
queen,
sure.
you know. But it really shows us that from the views, the number of views being something that helps you to determine this is something that
Yeah.
can be lucrative, to the actual conversion to sales, to you deciding on which market you may be in. It is, at the end of the day, a numbers game. And so it's important to understand the statistics that are coming from these apps, thankfully now in a much easier way. I had a stint in an advertising agency, digital marketing agency, where we used to have to manually pull stats and let me tell a lecturer and
But you know what's so
it is something that we run away from numbers, we have to run towards them.
But it's great because, again, when I started business 11 years ago, right, data was not available as it is now.
Right.
And so
Yeah,
when
literally.
we hear the ideas that how much % of businesses fail in the first year, those were businesses that came up in a time of very little data.
Right.
We didn't have data available. But social media marketing, I am a nerd. I'm aware of this. I'm taking ownership. I like numbers because feelings are not facts.
Thank you.
But numbers
Men
tell
and
me
women
what's
like
up.
numbers,
Yeah.
too.
And I'm really impressed that Renee just said 40% of her sales comes from TikTok.
No. It's because
Yeah.
the platform itself generates all the data for you. So all you
Yeah.
have to
The
do is
data
now
is
Yeah.
there.
check for the
Literally there.
data, be
Yep.
consistent with checking it, just
Yeah.
like you check your cash flows weekly.
Yeah,
I
'cause
mean,
it gives
it's,
you
it's
data for like
something that
7 days, a
I'm
month,
not always
3 months.
happy to do all the
But
time.
it matters.
But it matters. It matters
It
a lot.
matters, for
It
sure.
matters a lot.
I definitely try to avoid watching my bank account every day, but when I
Aye.
spend, that's bank and the purchase and the balance after now, so I see it. But I will say it does put things into perspective.
for sure,
Right.
for
And
sure.
what we are trying to do is make sure that your perspective is enhanced. You may not immediately delve into the world of social media as a job, but we want you to be more brave when approaching it and interacting with it so you understand how you can be part of the conversation on the positives. I'm continuing with questions because they're getting specific. To certified Samson, we are toiling in the game for years before it paying off. Do you advise others to take the same approach? Or rather, that is, you were toiling in the game long before it paid off. Do you advise others to take the same approach of pushing for almost a decade, or pivot and find your niche in content? Congrats on your success thus far.
I would say, hopefully this is the correct word, reinventing is a very important thing. So if you realize something isn't working, maybe you had to go back to the drawing board and change it around a bit.
I like that.
So when I started, I did a style of content. I realized, okay, this wasn't working as much as I wanted it to. Went back to the drawing board, I was like, okay, how could I bring across
Yeah,
this
'cause that
message in a
context,
different way?
wasn't
So if you're doing something for 10 years and you have the same sort of style or the same sort of direction and too stagnant, definitely go back to the drawing board.
Pivot.
Same way for businesses, they have to reinvent themselves. Some businesses do like to go online. Why? go online.
Look,
40%. Look, 40% is
Marshall changed his name how much times? He really
double M and 3D. And all kind of-
So Joanna got that question in. I'm going to check in one more time. But we do have one physically here on the floor. So go right ahead and introduce yourself and ask a question. We aren't. Oh,
I think I can kind of hear you.
come into the light.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello. What's up?
Sure.
I would have seen you on social media. And I have a small business, but I can be a little shy.
Right.
and an introvert. So I just wanted to know some tips or some recommendations on how I could get a little bit more out there. Because you said that a lot of your sales will come from social media, and I feel like I have the potential to reach out more by showing my face,
Right.
personality, and things like that. So I just wanted to hear some recommendations.
Sure. Well, the first thing is that you're trying, and I believe when anyone I talk to, the mere fact that you're trying to be a better person or trying for your business is a step in the right direction. You can tell me what your business is about, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure. So my business is Bliss Candle Company, and
Candles.
yes, and I make creative custom scented products.
Right. So I'll give you, that's why I asked you for your specifics so I could give you an example.
Yeah.
The reasons why people use candles, you have to understand that because you started the business, right?
Yes.
I personally am not a candle person. I don't like the scents and stuff, but you know why you started that, right?
Right.
If it was me, you don't have to always show yourself, but I always tell people, try to incorporate yourself sometimes so that people connect to people and they buy from people. They don't, Samson is a great example of that. They buy directly from that person because they've connected with him. They feel that sort of comfort and trust within him and therefore his brand. So I would say start with your cannabis is where taking your videos behind the scene, letting people know what it takes to actually build this candle from the ground up. Because a lot of people don't even know the ingredients that go into the candle. I'm pretty sure you're using really great ingredients. Right?
Yeah.
So start off there, being shy, being here on this stage, first and foremost, I think is why people call me an influencer when I myself don't see myself in that light, because all I think of myself as a business owner pushing the brand. So when people say, yeah, you're influencer, I'm like, But starting off simple, there's no right way and wrong way because it's your path. I could tell you all that I need to tell you, but you yourself know, right? So start off small. Hey, everyone. This is the process from the ground up. This is how I build my candles. This is the reason why my quality, is better than, you don't have to state anybody else's name, but you could just push on your quality, right? And then after that third video you post, hey, this is the owner of the brand. I'm from Trinidad, just like you. I love this scent because of this. After a while, after being consistent, you'll build that confidence. I am not always 100% confident. After I post a video, like, oh gosh, that cringe. I'm like, delete. This week I posted a video. This week I posted a video. I deleted it. I was like, girl, your voice sounding terrible. Don't even speak. I deleted the video. I said, I saw the video. I said, you want to make money this week or not? Okay, post. That's literally, that is my mindset going into these things. So I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be easy first. You are going to still feel shy. I still feel that vulnerability a lot of the times. But in order to grow, this is the part you have to take. So again, my advice is you don't have to make every video with you in it, but start off collectively building to what you are and your why.
Leah's going to add to that because I know she's like, oh, my voice, my hair, my everything. But this is literally what you do. You're at the front of the camera.
Yeah, what I would say, if you are pretty shy online, just at least to start off. I've been saying like TikTok is really the app that I think people exponentially grow because you can attach like a trending audio onto your song and onto your video, and that video can literally be boosted from other people's videos who have been doing well with that audio and whatnot. So that's a great way to grow nice and I guess subconsciously with everyone else who's great with like that audio, for example. And if you don't want to be in front of the camera in the beginning, like Renee said, you can even document your process. Of course, not so much so that people are mimicking your process and kick you out of the business.
She's like,
but that, I personally do like watching candle videos, like how people do it. I just even like fast forward videos of it like solidifying and all that is satisfying to people in the audience. And I would say that's genuinely like even research online, or search up on TikTok, candle videos, literally, and try and, I don't want to say copy that content, but it does help because
again, going back to the numbers,
seeing, because I have changed my style of foodie video. I do food generally. I guess that's my main niche, I would say. I never want to box myself into anything for sure, but that is my main niche. But I've done very different styles of content. I've done a recording in my home. I've done ASMR videos for a long time. When I did my first ASMR video, that performed well, and I was milking that for a while because I was like, oh gosh, my videos have not been performing that well prior to that. But ASMR is me being quiet, and honestly, my voice is part of my
Yeah,
personality in
I
my
was just
videos.
gonna say,
So,
what she's not
so
telling you,
yeah.
which you could probably use. You do have to be on camera, so
Yeah,
your
you
voice
don't.
is a
Your
very
voice,
beautiful
100%,
tool
100%.
that I think everybody has tapped into one way or the other, especially since we narrate things. So does that answer your question?
It definitely does. And just to add, like, if I were to hear any of y'all without seeing your face, I would know it's Leah.
You would know.
I know it's ready.
No,
I
Patel, I
know it's
appreciate
55
you.
subs.
Appreciate you.
So go with the voice, go with the voice.
Yeah.
So
It's
if
easy.
you're shy or uncombed with the hair.
Yeah, even though people might think your voice is fake, like everybody be telling me my voice is fake or I'm faking my voice, who have time to do that? But the hundreds of videos I've posted, how I faking my voice still. That real man. So many people know, you hear me? I don't be faking anything, thank you very much.
Thank
But
you
yeah, so you
much.
be yourself,
I'm
bro.
going right back.
Good to go.
I'm going right back.
Thank you very much for your question. I'm checking in with the online sources again. And Jessica has asked simply, is there a good or bad time to post a TikTok or IG?
I would say time is important
Yes,
as well.
Yeah.
it
You
is
don't want to post 12
100%.
o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Everybody's sleeping. It just depends where your audience is, of course. But generally, a good time to post is between 4:30 and 5:30 in the evening, depending on the type of content you do. Yeah, obviously, if you do content based around news, morning time is the best time.
Right.
Start people day off the right way.
Yeah.
So it sort of varies on the type of content that you do.
Yeah, and the day
I think
itself.
it's
Because if
trial
it's a
and
holiday,
error.
yeah, for
And
sure.
trial and error.
Because
Yeah.
for me, I post the daily lives. I literally post as soon as I finish work. That's after 9. So between 9 and 10, I realize now my audience know, hey, we're looking out for a video between 9 and 10, right?
Right.
If I don't post that
and
and I
your audience.
try something else, I tried posting last week. During the day, I realized the views are not the same because my audience is in that time frame that I set them to look at, you know? So it really is a trial and error thing. So whatever you're posting, whatever you're doing, try it out. Because again, like someone said, your audience is really important. If you're targeting kids, you can't post any nice and expect them to watch your videos, you know, that kind of thing? Yeah.
The questions are rolling in quickly. Andrea, I feel like you could take this one. Kindly address the teaching of financial literacy to our future CEOs who are currently now in school. My reasoning is, it is a conversation that a lot of financial experts have been having, that we need to integrate this into the schools. And as we are seeing from our young influencers, a lot of it was missed.
Yeah.
Where can we start? Where is a good place to go to for that financial information?
So I think, so first of all, we lack the formal education of financial literacy in school,
sure.
right? That's not a subject
100%.
anywhere. That's not a module anywhere. And what ends up happening is that we become adults that make bad financial decisions.
Look, my hair.
We take loans that we can't repay, and we take credit cards that we can't manage.
Right.
So financial literacy, unfortunately, has to, until the powers that be make a change to say, let's incorporate it formally in schools, it relies on the parents, guardians, to teach their children about money and understanding that things are not free. Because what ends up happening is that we have 18-year-olds who don't necessarily don't understand that I need to work to afford the things that mommy and daddy have been buying for me. So I would say at a basic level, you as a parent, don't be afraid to share that information with your child. Find a fun and creative way. Now, I can't recommend any specific books or anything, but what I can say, I have seen a shift. If you Google things like financial literacy for kids, I think I can't remember the name, but locally, I think I saw a local author try to write a book to teach children about financial literacy. But it starts with you as the parent, because you are the one that is spending the money at the end of the day.
And showing them how we
right?
spend the money.
So
Yeah.
take them to the grocery store. Show them, this is how much this costs. This is how much the cornflakes cost. Right?
I think I need to go back to the idea.
So,
I'll go back to the idea.
right. You want certified cornflakes? Look, this is how much it costs. Right? So explain to them the concept. Explain to them the concept that, you know, I have to do something in order to make money. I think there's a disconnect.
Exactly.
There's a disconnect, and they literally just see things appear in the cupboard, and something falls and breaks.
Call and you ask for a transfer to happen to you.
Right?
I did that.
The phone fall and break, and they just get a new one, right?
Value of things.
They don't understand.
So hopefully these sorts of forums will help to create or close that gap. This is the beginning or the continuation of a conversation that we hope that you all extend within your homes, your social spaces, your offices, so that you reach out to not just the persons on our panel to get your specific details answered or your specific questions answered, but to perhaps be exposed to other persons who can enlighten you when we talk financial literacy. Institutions like Rand Credit Union and other financial institutions all are doing their part to bridge the gap. You have to do your part in getting the information too. And I understand we have another question on the field with a familiar face.
Hi, thank you. How are you doing?
I am good.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Gill. I want to congratulate Rand for this. I've learned so much here this afternoon. I want to thank all the panelists. The information is amazing. I have a question now, though, not for any of you. I have a question for Rand. And the question is this. Now, and I am certain that all creatives would understand this. We have serious challenges getting financing for our ideas. And I'm hoping what I'm seeing here is an indication that the Rand Credit Union is going to open its doors to creatives and give them the opportunity to find financing going forward. I really hope that, and you don't have to answer it right now, but I would like to see, see you all doing things going forward to encourage creatives to come to you for financing. I want to thank you once again.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And though I am not in any capacity a representative for Rand except for moderating the panel, I will say that that is one of the beautiful things about credit unions, that because the banks used to be so stringent, credit unions develop out of that need to serve the people. And so this again ties in with the opportunity to educate yourself on the distinguishing factors, if you will, of financial institutions across the board, credit unions, banks, lending criteria, loans, and investment. A lot of the times we think about the ways that we can get from these institutions, but there are ways that we can build through these institutions too. Nadia, I want to channel the next question to you because there are quite a few of them that I'm missing. Any questions though that we don't get to answer right now, we will have the actual board open for another 72 hours in total, on another day, so that you can still pose your questions, you can still use the content and direct questions that we perhaps will send to our experts. So the question was, actually it was answered by one of our moderators. A good time to give handles. Now, do you remind people of your handles and how they could connect to you? Because that was the question. Who is the person who spoke on investment as an opportunity to increase wealth?
Yes. So
how do we find you?
So my handle on Instagram and TikTok is Nadia Money Mindset. And that's where I post a lot of financial literacy content, specific to the Caribbean, specific to local environments, investment opportunities that just talk about them, discuss them in a real practical kind of normal way, so you understand. So it's a nice place to start to kind of get your feet wet. If you're an adult and you realize that you have a gap in financial knowledge, if you're an entrepreneur and you realize, well, wait, I'm not really thinking strategic, then find the information. And that's a good place to start. There's a lot of resources in terms of books you can read, channels you could follow, podcasts you could listen to, etc.
Love it. It actually ties in with a question from Denisha Nesbitt, who asks if you had a business mentor during your growth process, and how did you go about seeking and selecting a good business mentor? Now, Samson, I know you mentioned that you have a business partner, so somebody you kind of bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
But was there an actual mentor or financial advisor that you would have gone to at all?
Honestly, no.
Right.
Yeah.
So still trying to learn.
But it's very important.
Absolutely.
It's very important. So later on, we added that person, of course, and understood the importance of it. I don't watch it.
Literally.
I don't watch it.
Taking your numbers immediately.
No, I know I gave Nadia the opportunity to give her handle specifically, but we will, of course, continuously share that with you, the online audience, and all of you in-house will be able to get it as well. But you actually literally travel the world doing exactly that, giving those sorts of bits of information.
Well,
so what platforms, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, The Vision Builder Co., The Vision Builder CEO, and you can also visit my website, dinahayesburg.com. No N Hayes.
We had a conversation.
No, I'm just saying because Haynes is a common name, but between those two spaces, you will find information that's very specific to entrepreneurs, and then on my website itself has additional resources to support you wherever you are.
Perfection. Our virtual CFO, remind us.
So you can find me mostly, I'm on LinkedIn under my name, Andrea Ragu, and Instagram, your virtual CFO 868. I was on TikTok. I've been taking a break from TikTok.
Yeah,
we have some scammers that are trying to take over my page.
Oh,
so
no.
Yeah.
They don't tell you about that.
Yeah, we didn't talk. That's the dark side of social media, guys. Right now.
I think we should shy away from, because it is something, especially as entrepreneurs who are your brand.
Yes.
I first-hand experience quite recently where I was the subject of a viral post that was ultimately fake news, and it begged for not just financial literacy, but also some digital literacy. So I'll take the opportunity to also encourage persons to not be afraid of the digital space, but to be aware of pitfalls that exist. Good and bad coexist. That's just how it is. I think, though, that for me it was particularly dreadful. My reputation is what was used to encourage persons to visit a platform that I knew nothing about, that I was in no way a part of. And it would have caused other financial institutions to actually decline working with me. Literally one institution outright said so. Now, I don't know or have an actual quantity of the dollar value that I've lost or the number of opportunities that I've lost.
Same
what
thing here.
it did tell me was how people see me.
Correct.
I was very flippant about how many people recognize me and how they associate me with authenticity. And I think particularly because you, Leah, delve so heavily into that, your authenticity, you being you is what sells. It is the same thing that I do. But in the way that people were approaching me thereafter, in the aftermath, literally messaging me saying, I think it's fake, but it's you. It showed me that intrinsic value that we talked about. It showed me that 100%. Your audience understands what you bring to the table, 100%. And you can actually quantify that. And it also made me very aware that as much as we want to go into this digital world, there are things that we just need to learn to navigate.
So what the experience is teaching me, because it's something very live that I'm trying to deal with right now. TikTok is not answering me, by the way. Multiple reports of scam and nobody answering. But what it's teaching me is the value, and I know we didn't talk about in this space, and we won't delve into it, but if you're in the digital space, you need to protect your intellectual property.
Right.
Yes. And any content that you create, you need to look at that, because there's people out there who waiting for you to build up yourself, which is what happened to me. I had built up myself on TikTok really well, had a nice following, and then the scam artists took my image and did, purported to say that I was supporting this, right? And have people diverting followers. And so
my cousins texted me, asking me.
Correct, and the same thing. Somebody messaged me and said, "I don't think this is you, but it's you." And I said, "But it's not." So just to leave that out there, that if you're in the digital space, really remember that everybody have access to the same information and look into protecting your image and protecting your
and creating your own
content.
Owned spaces.
Correct.
That's your next level. We always talk.
Correct.
You have
The
to have your
website.
owned spaces and also transition to having your owned community listing.
Right. Owned. Not
owned,
but owned.
Because remember,
owned and controlled by
it's
you.
like we're renting space, right? On these
on the
platforms.
platform.
Any of these platforms decide we go on. And I'm going to date myself, but I remember High Five.
Hey, we do.
What's that?
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
I was on High Five.
There's a generation that knows nothing.
I thought
It's a generation that knows nothing.
You don't know what's High Five.
No, it's MySpace. That's as far back as I can.
I remember High Five. While I was in university, it's no longer there. And so while we know that social media is the way that we're going forward, we don't know where these platforms are going to be. So as you found something that works and as you're scaling it, look towards a space of owned content. Look for, so meaning that's your website. And then also creating a private space where you own your community listing. And so even for influencers, that also means owning the contacts. So sometimes you all enter into deals but you don't actually create a database of future potential opportunities.
Right.
You're hoping that you find back the email, but suppose Gmail go down.
Right.
True.
That's true.
That's real important.
You're
I didn't
right.
know that.
You're right.
Please do
girl.
it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the value is not just you, but it's also your connections.
Right.
For sure, 100%.
And that's
Because
how
when
you
you
own
talk
it.
that numbers game.
And that's how you build the succession planning in your business, right? When you have that now, that's something that you're going back to continuously do that repeatable business.
And
So-
everybody could do it.
Absolutely.
Regardless of the business. Ice cream, y'all could do it. Just saying.
And I would add, in terms of putting a dollar value to having an existing customer versus getting a new one, has been one of the most valuable lessons I learned in financial. I was in the financial industry
easier.
before I went into media. And they do break it down. Any institution can tell you how much it costs them to serve a customer over the counter versus having them use the alternate channels. And it has to be the same thought for you as well.
Right.
Understanding the value of each person that follows you, that interacts with you, that gives you that feedback, so that you can leverage that with your as part of your brand package. So we're going to continue with the questions online because they're coming in fast and furious. Tanisha is asking how you overcome the struggles of maintaining capital within your business when the overhead cost is slowly increasing. So that sounds like a budgeting thing, but
And a
what do you think,
pricing
Dina?
thing.
A pricing and a budgeting.
When your pricing is messed up, that's why you're going to have that problem. If your pricing messed up from day one, you will feel every shift. And then if you're in a market where you are using consumables that are imported, you're going to feel it faster than anybody else. So it means that you need to go back to the drawing board, fix your pricing, get your pricing right, because when it's done well, you can actually buffer and slowly migrate your pricing upwards to maintain your profit margin.
You know the formula again. It was to make sure we cover the overheads.
Operational costs, not just overheads, that's really important. Operational costs, human resource costs. Then you add your profit onto that, and then you're able to have a buffer. So not only will you be able to pay yourself. So when things are going up in a situation like that, you might say, you know what, I'll cut back. Not advocating for this, but I might cut back on paying myself a little bit, or I might cut down, but you have wiggle room for that.
Right.
But if all you have is operations, and I put a 10% on that, I'm not going to go into the profit margin conversation, you will always be in a struggle.
I could definitely attest to that. When I first started business, I was really trying to just be not a cheap brand, but a relatable brand where everybody could afford. So I priced it based on that. I didn't price it based on the operational expenses and stuff. Growing in the business, I realized, wait, one of my main ingredients is imported. It's cream, it's heavy cream. We use that as the base of the ingredient, right? And I was like, wait, this went up already twice this year. What if this goes up again, Renee? So when I repriced the brand now, I said, okay, I'm putting this into sale. It's going up 5 times. And little did I know this year it went up 3 times again.
You have to
so
buffer.
whereas now, I'm concerned, but I'm not worried because I put things in place now to cover those costs.
And this is why she on the panel.
And then you can slowly adjust. So again, we have information. Guys, we have more information than we've ever had. We know inflation rates. We know it. We can look around and we can hear about things that interest rates globally that affects our forex, etc. So you don't have to know everything, but we also have artificial intelligence. Ask them a question and they'll tell you.
ChatGPT is my bread.
That's what it's there for.
So what Renee, what Renee demonstrated there is an example of the sound foundation in your finances, right? Because if you're just adding in the cost of the ingredients, which is what happens in physical product businesses versus service businesses. I see it all the time. Product businesses, the price usually equals the cost of the raw materials, and they forget all the overheads. So this is where having that proper financial structure will allow her to understand how she creates the buffer. Because if she didn't have the information and didn't have the structure, she wouldn't know if to do it 3 times, 5 times, 4 times, as the case may be. So that is a clear example of how you need to put your structure in place.
I hope that answers your question as well, Rebecca Sammy, because she was asking how you come up with your prices when brands reach out to you. I know it would be more specific for perhaps your formula per se, Leah, but I think a better approach might be to consider what you have to put out, especially since another person asked, Renee, do you need top-notch equipment to get started on social media? What equipment do you use in your culinary cottage? Stay awesome.
Definitely do not need
That's it right there.
Yeah.
Ta-da! not even the latest iPhone.
No, when I first started, there's the Samsung camera I was saving up for because I was like, no, I have to have the best. My sister-in-law has a Samsung camera, a Sony camera, sorry. And I said, can I borrow it? Can I borrow it? Little did I know, 2 weeks down the line, I was just using this and I realized that, hey, I didn't need the best of it because once I started to post the information, it didn't matter what I was using, the information was out there. And I would always tell people, just today when I was doing my makeup, I literally just prop my phone on her makeup stand and I just say, hey, that's a part of the daily life. Can I just, you know, and it's on my phone. And now when I post today about my daily life, it's there. I didn't have any ring light. I didn't have any stand. Not to say that you cannot invest in these things. They are important. Sure. But to start off, this is all you need. And if you see my phone now, it's videos upon videos, just because every time when I go to pour the rubbish, you think I want to think about taking out my phone when I throw out the rubbish, but as a part of my daily life. Right. People watch that and they watch the routine that I have, and it's something that draws them back to it.
Speaking of routine.
One thing I'd like to add to what she said as well, sometimes, well, not sometimes, most of the times, it's way better to use a device because you have that relatability as someone looking at it and, okay, I can do that too. If you have a high quality camera, you seem too established. So now it's like, oh, maybe this is too difficult to do. Swipe. So you get more doubters. So now that she has her phone and she's on the go, she can do it.
Yeah. Authenticity coming back into play too.
Yeah,
it feels like something you could do.
Yeah.
So you probably related better.
Yeah.
I do want to go into routine, and I could still bring in here routine with the job and the tutoring and the content creation and the editing. I think that's one of the things that we shy away from with the social media. I know I do. I don't edit anything. But you actually curate a particular look and feel. So tell me about your schedule. How do you balance work life as a Tiva, but what does your schedule or routine look like?
Well, I mean, of course it is difficult because I do have these 3 major pillars that I am trying to maintain weekly. They are my responsibilities that I have to do. I ideally have to go to work. I have my responsibility to do that from 8 to 4. Usually I do my editing. I curate my workday in such a way where I kill off what I have to kill off for the morning and the evening as well, where I have some free time in both periods of time. And I have my lunch hour for myself fully to not do anything and actually relax.
Love that.
So I make sure,
today,
for sure, 100%, yeah. So that is very important. So I'm not gonna go and overwork myself in such a way where like, oh my gosh, I have to get my content in by this day. Sometimes I don't post for like a couple of days because I need to just kind of recoup myself physically and mentally as well. So I do have to ensure that I'm curating that into my whole scheduling. But yeah, usually I do most of my editing at work itself. Like when I do have like some free time, I will just take some time, get it done. And of course with time and practice, it became like it took less time to do it because I know my formula as well with my general template of how I do my videos and how I edit my own videos. And it's becoming second nature now with that. So it doesn't feel as much effort as going in. And well, with my tutoring that also it's just a set time, like right after work, I go tutor for 2 hours, Monday to Thursday, and then on Saturdays from 11 to 1. So, and then,
I'm curious, and I'm pretty sure the audience is too. Samson, I think people overlooked, but scripting for you, I would say it's so difficult, but you do it so effortlessly. This is me editing, by the way, every day. But scripting, because I don't, and I've been very honest, when I finish work, I'm doing 18-hour shifts, 20-hour shifts. I literally post all the videos from the daily life, and I just do a voiceover. But he specifically scripts his videos.
So I like how she make it song there, but I really don't script.
No.
So I would freestyle everything. Everything.
It feels so real.
That is crazy.
Everything.
That is crazy.
Mind blowing.
Knowledge in terms of film production, those sorts of things. When we say scripting, there are a number of ways that we can do that as well, right? Reality TV has revolutionized the notion of scripting. I don't know what's going on back there, but I hope
They're right.
In terms of the notion of scripting, not necessarily writing word for word what you actually deliver to camera, but some sort of storyboard, some sort of template, some sort of this is what we're going to discuss happens.
Yeah. So what I do, I try to come up with content based on life. So in my earlier days, like you just say, my mom quarrel for wares. There's a video there. I'm just going to do a video about my mom quarreling about wares. People who relate to that content would relate to them. Like we say, I want to do a video where, at a certain time growing up, you had to reach back home by 6 o'clock. Right? Okay, I'm going to do that. Like say, rain falling. Clothes on the line. Make sure and pick up that clothes before the rain falls.
Yeah.
And, many times I've been in situations where I pick up the clothes. that is a skit right there.
Right.
So I do situations based on life. I do really script it, which is important,
yeah.
but it also brings that sort of organicness. Same way you do it as well. Same way you do it as well. In terms of it brings the authenticity. That's the word, right?
Yes.
Mike Button there.
No, I am thrilled that we are getting the participation in-house, online, but all you're not doing my job. It's 7:02, and we should be wrapping things up. As a matter of fact, we should have wrapped things up so that we begin the mixing and mingling for those of you who made the time to be here. I know we have a question from the floor, but I do want to pose this one to Nadia real quick because it is very specific. I've watched a lot of Shark Tank when business owners seek investors in their businesses. Something that we don't necessarily talk about here, but is beautifully necessary. It's for a share in equity. So Nadia is giving up equity in a financially sound move, or rather, is giving up equity, a financially sound move to grow your business. And is it frequently done locally?
Right. So the answer to that is really, 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 it depends. It depends. It depends on what Andrea spoke about earlier. What's the purpose? Is this going to be a short-term thing? Is this a lifelong thing? Is this a passion that you're going to give your all into and pour into the business? Is it a means to an end? How are you seeing it? So it really depends on personal goals as well as business decisions as well. So you really had to look at the numbers, you had to weigh your options, how you feel about it, yeah? So it really depends whether it's done a lot locally. I would say formally, we don't have like a formal economy for it. It's not carved out formally, but definitely informally, that's happening a lot because you have persons who have the idea, who have the know-how, who have the technical expertise, but they just don't have the capital. So you come together and, you know, you could talk a lot about that. You form a partnership and you kind of weigh and balance and go into it together. So there's a lot of that happening, yeah.
And the opportunity exists.
A lot of options to weigh.
Opportunities like that will come to you later, primarily because, again, people are buying into your brand, your specific thing. And I know I've experienced it where persons have literally said, anything you want help with, tell me. I want to be a part of that. I've had cameramen, I've had editors voluntarily do things because they want that partnership. And again, making it mutually beneficial was a very strategic move to nurture the relationship so that we can continue to have them. As much as I'd love to continue this conversation, I want to take that one question. I don't know why she disappeared. She sat down. Smart girl. Please tell us your name and direct your question as you will be the final one for tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Keithan. And I'm not sure who would take the question, actually. But in terms of my familiarity with their platform, I know Renee is ice cream, and Samsung has
It's not cornflakes.
Certified cornflakes are coming.
Coming soon. Having the physical store, and then in terms of Leah, it's specifically food reviews right now. So my question is it safe to say, or is it that in order to monetize your social media presence, you have to or should find your niche, or is it possible for someone who might just be doing, I don't know, daily live videos or something to monetize it? And this is not coming from a place, I actually don't have a social media platform or presence in terms of that, but it's out of curiosity. Would you say that, or?
So I guess everybody could take us through? Just start with
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I would, oh, sorry.
Work on flakes.
Is the Kelly not listening?
Is the Kelly giving trouble, bro? That's so funny.
Okay, sorry.
Leo, what do you think?
So I would say definitely don't box yourself into any one niche, because even though food is my main niche, I would never just keep myself in that same box forever, because I would like to be able to expose myself to other brands as well. Like if an AC company wants to reach out to me to promote their thing, I don't want to just box myself. No, I can't eat your AC. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So that would kind of actually stifle myself. You know. So in that way, I mean, of course, be authentically yourself. If I know I can't do skits like Samson, bro, I can't do skits. I know that for sure. So, but I will try my best to go out of my realm of food and just try to be as versatile as possible. But of course, you will have your things that you are most comfortable with, like food, and even editing my own food videos are becoming so much easier, because that is like something that it should become like my natural thing now. Yeah. But that's just like something that subconsciously grew with time, and yeah.
I would say find something you love doing. That's the main ingredient there. So if you want to be multi-skilled, as Leah is, and do different forms of content, you can do that. If you're specific to what you do, right? Yeah. If you're specific to what you do, then look for that. Day in the life vlogs have many different ways that you can make money from as well. Product placements, eventually your own product, tutoring, teaching people about social media, many different things you could absolutely build on. But the main thing you have to find within is what you want to do. You don't want to be all over the place, because then you're going to get clustered. You're going to try to figure, okay, so who am I known for? And also, is a message you're trying to portray out there. What should people know you for? What is the main thing people know you for? So don't box yourself in, of course, but definitely figure out the main ingredient to take the main ingredient to push yourself in a direction where what you're doing makes sense eventually.
Yep, for sure.
I think ultimately, deep down, you're going to know what really brings that joy or sparks that interest in you. Because you can post a million videos, but for Leah specifically saying, that editing of her food videos is really what draws her in and continuously, encourages her to do it. So even if you're posting any random videos, there will be something that sparks within you. And just like someone says, it's that one thing will be your passion, will be your drive, and it will really force you into owning down to it and, giving your all to it. So yes, test the waters, try and see what works for you, because I realized I thought showing the product was just enough, but I realized, no, daily life is actually what making people buy more, because they're connecting to me. If I stuck with just showing product, I probably wouldn't be here where I'm sitting today, right? It always is trial and error, but I truly believe you know inside of you, and it will spark that joy. So you just have to continuously try, and it will come to you. It's really just trial and error.
Because I love food, man. Food's my love language, so that's my main, bro.
If I could share like a practical thing on my side, you actually have to, one thing you could do is listen to the feedback that you're getting from the audience. Because true story, I didn't call myself your virtual CFO, my audience did. I started off on a completely different name, right? Posting, still accounting and finance, but I was posting a different angle. And my audience, in listening to me, started to ask questions down a particular pathway, and they gave me the name. And I was like, oh, I like this. And I changed my brand to now match what they were asking me and what they wanted to hear. So it was pivotal for me to take that from the audience and actually listen to and realize what they were asking me. Of course, my space is a professional, technical space, but that was pivotal for me, because just like you, I had no idea what I was doing social media-wise. I had no idea when I was trying my thing on social media. So, but that was pivotal so that's a practical way as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And with that, before they tell me the Neverland will host another one, as it is 7:10 p.m. I'll take the opportunity to thank those of you who are in-house with us for making the time to not just be here and give us an audience that we can engage with, but for also paying it forward. Because I trust that you will carry these conversations into your workspace, into your social circles, into your homes, and do the education to the next generation, as Andrea was saying, and implement the strategies that we've gotten from Dana that we can actually use on a day-to-day basis. And you're definitely going to message Nadia on the side to find out how to invest the $40 that you pay yourself with. I know that we are looking forward to certified cornflakes, and that
I do it.
It's over.
Okay, we're ready.
We will certainly be looking not just for the flavors that combine things we never thought of, but for how you do it every day. She starts at 5, y'all. At 5 in the morning.
What?
Yeah, she does. And the video starts at 5 too. And of course, we're looking forward to the next review and the editing techniques that you're going to eventually share with us as your next part of your niche expanding. But it is all about making sure that institutions do their part to make sure that the communities within which they operate are enriched because of their existence. I am very proud to be a part of this endeavor and look forward to the next one that will hopefully not just be an annual one, but continuously throughout the year offer you different ways to grow those pockets and get those bigger pockets. So we say thank you very much to our entire panel, all of whom you can reach digitally, virtually, and for those in-house here tonight. And to Rand for hosting another edition of Bigger Pockets. Till the next one, ladies and gentlemen online, good night. What do you want to say?
I just want to say how great of a host you are. fantastic host, fantastic host.
Yeah,
Real articulate and
for sure.
And I like how you seamlessly fit everybody through words. I just say.
I had an immaculate panel. It makes
Yeah.
the job much easier. And of course, gracious hosts in Rand Credit Union, who we encourage you guys to follow on social media and connect with. But for now, to the digital world, we say good night. For those of you in-house, get home safely when you do. But don't forget, we have a little mix and mingle. And to our panel, thank you. Continue to do the good work, and let's all get bigger pockets.
Hey.
The live show should end soon.
Yeah.
Feel free to do your photo ops and that sort.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
remind everybody of handles. Stick around, guys. We are wrapping things up in a nice way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. An absolute delight. The tea plates and thing, don't go, but we're mixing and mingling now, right? Thank you very much for your question. Thank you very much for your question. I appreciate that tremendously. And I know you will.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make some day today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make some day today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make some day today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should with Rand Credit Union. Yes, you could make some day today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve